Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/get-started. That's GREENLIGHT.com/get-started.
Oh my God, this is so amazing!
Oh, yeah.
Wow!
I can't believe you won free skydiving lessons!
I know, so lucky, right? Are you guys excited?
Way excited!
All right, let's do this thing.
Wait, what's this week's citation needed essay about?
Wait, why?
Well, here's the thing. Whenever Eli has a surprise for us, or we'll wake up in a place, usually, because he's doing pre-show shenanigans, they don't have the schedule for that.
Yeah, this week is highest fall survived without a parachute.
I knew it!
Oh, come on, you ruined it.
Seriously? You sabotaged our parachutes, man?
I mean, it was right there. You guys can't blame me for this.
Very much can blame you.
Yes, very much so, yes.
I think I'm still gonna jump.
What?
I feel pretty tired. I don't know. This isn't where I thought I'd be. It isn't even who I thought I'd be. I feel like maybe whatever version of me was supposed to be happy, it's not possible for me anymore, Maybe I maybe missed my shot, guys.
There's a Buffalo Wild Wings near the airport.
Oh yeah, never mind. Let's do B-dubs instead.
The sketch is a bummer.
Well, this is what happens when we don't die, Heath. This is what happened.
Hello and welcome to Citation Needed, a podcast where we choose a subject, read a single article about it on Wikipedia, and pretend we're experts. Because this is the internet, and that's how it works now. I'm Heath, and I wish you would step back from that ledge, my friend. I do not like heights. And of course, somehow I'm going to be hosting this episode about my literal recurring nightmare that I really, really have a lot. So now I list your fears. I'm joined by Cecil, who fears the economic injustice of his childhood, and Tom, who fears the evil nature of humanity. And we're done giving attention.
Okay, not cool, man. Tom and Cecil got fun ones, okay?
Oh, Jesus Christ. With your help, we can end poverty one gig job at a time.
Right. It's not so much I fear the evil nature of humanity, Heath. It's that I trust it.
Yeah, I'm with you, bud. All right, let's get right into it. Cecil, what person, place, thing, concept, phenomenon, or event are we going to be talking about today?
Today, we're going to talk about the highest fall survived without a parachute.
Great. And I'm assuming you were somehow naked in high school during a nightmare and you came up with something more fun to think about for this?
Guys, as I sat on my dock staring at the water, thinking about this week's topic.
Okay. Not cool to do my thing, Cecil. Huh? All right, what angle were you staring at the water at, huh? How's that, Cecil? Does it feel good? What was the angle?
The angle of the horizon to my life, Tom. The notion of surviving a fall from great heights without a parachute filled my mind with such awe and wonder. It's remarkable how some individuals have defied the laws of gravity and emerged from such harrowing situations with their lives intact. From the stories of Vesna Vulovic, who miraculously survived a 33,000-foot plunge.
No, I'm coming around. I'm liking this. Yeah, keep going.
When her plane exploded. To Alan McGee, who fell from a B-17 bomber without a parachute during World War II and lived to tell the tale. These accounts remind us of the human spirit's resilience and the unpredictable nature of fate. These tales serve as a testament to the strength of the human will to survive, even in the face of unimaginable odds, leaving us pondering the depths of our own courage and the mysteries of our existence.
That felt good.
That was such a good one.
Okay, no more shrooms before we write citation needed essays. All right, I'm putting it on the whiteboard. This is what happens.
I just loaded all of Tom's prequels into ChatGPT and it spat that out.
God damn it.
Oh,
God
now
damn
you've
it.
done Tom's greatest
It was,
fear.
it was
That
crazy.
hurts in two
I'm
ways.
doing everybody's greatest fear. We're going to work your guys' in soon. Don't worry.
Mine are real. Nope. Mine are happening every day. That's not fair.
All right. So let's start
Don't
with
do
people.
mine, seriously.
So let's start with people who have fallen the shortest distance first.
AKA pussies.
Coming in at a mere 6,000 feet or 1,800 meters is James Bull from Staffordshire in the UK. James was a veteran skydiver with 2,500 jumps under his belt. During the time of his accident, he was jumping from a plane 4 or 5 times each week.
Okay, when the people on this list have their like annual retreat together that I'm assuming they have, this guy James definitely takes a whole bunch of shit from everyone for being the smallest one. They're like, "What up, low dive? Cool, yeah, James is here. Awesome." No, your cannonball totally counts. That was awesome. Remember when you did that?
Oh, hey, James,
Totally
do you
counts.
mind reaching up and grabbing my bedroll from the top shelf? And then do you mind not listing it on Wikipedia when you do?
Jesus Christ. Really hurt.
When his accident occurred, he was skydiving in Kamchatka, a place only known as a great territory to station your troops if you want to invade the Americas as a Risk board game enthusiast.
The only reason I knew it.
Kamchatka also has a bunch of geothermal and volcanic activity as it's right in the Ring of Fire on the Pacific coast of Asia. There's 160 volcanoes there and 29 of them are still active. The peninsula also has a large group of them that UNESCO has designated as a World Heritage Site. Kamchatka also is pretty high up in the Northern Hemisphere on the coast of Russia, so it has the nickname Land of Fire and Ice.
Okay, that is a lot of geographical background, Cecil. If he doesn't land in one of the volcanoes, I quit this essay.
Yeah,
It's
he's got you there.
relevant. Give it a time. It's relevant. Okay. James was also a documentary cameraman. The jump in question was a plan to get some footage of an athlete falling, but looking like they're flying, past a large column of steam. The steam was shooting out of a mountain. Thank you very much.
You're shouting, Cecil. You're shouting.
At a 45-degree angle. Shut the fuck up.
Proceed with awe and wonder, please.
Okay, all right. Plane was going to go above it, and the two skydivers were going to jump out. The shot would have to be precise since the column of steam was only a couple hundred feet tall. When falling from an airplane at a high velocity, that leaves very little room for error on both
Sure.
the shot for the documentary and landing safely.
Okay, every time this guy gets done telling the story at this point, one guy's like, "Hey man, have you heard? Yeah, I know about green screens now. Thank you. Obviously, now I know that."
The plan after they capture the footage was to pull the ripcord at around 150 to 200 meters in the air. For the people who live in the US, that's 0.9 Golden Gate bridges tall. When they jumped, James got into sort of filmmaker mode and he was looking through the viewfinder on the camera. Well, objects in camera are sometimes closer than they appear. And when he finished the shot, he looked down and he saw that it was like 2 or 3 seconds above the ground.
That is actually one metric. Oh, shit. If my conversion table is right.
That's definitely it.
Right.
Yeah. Without thinking, he said he pulled the parachute, but it never really did much. Here he is. Quote, "The parachute barely unfurled, but swung my feet up above me like a child on a swing."
Like a child. That's a weird choice of simile. there.
Yep, that is a weird choice. Yep, thank you.
You know when a child almost dies? Like that, but I'm an adult.
Continuing the quote, "Then the ground hit me full in the back with the force of a truck. The impact left me unconscious for a few seconds. As I opened my eyes, 2 overwhelming emotions raced through me. The first was elation at having survived, and the second, black, jagged fear. I was certain straight away that I had broken my back. The pain in my spine was so immense that I had no doubt about this at all." End quote.
Okay, how long do you think the other guys kept going, woo, before they noticed James and kind of ruined the day?
To rescue him from the mountainside, they had to deploy a helicopter and a crew of 12 mountain guides with a stretcher. He was stuck inside a 1 meter deep crater that he made with his impact. So they had to pry him out of it.
Wait a minute, was he a coyote?
It was like James shaped, I'm sure. That's actually cartoonish.
While he was lying there, he said his lungs were slowly filling up with blood because of his internal injuries. He was agonizing over his last words. He wanted someone to communicate with his family, and he decided on, quote, "I'm sorry this happened. I love you," end quote.
Okay, that one's pretty simple, but there's got to be a bunch of last word moments where the person flubbed the line and they got so mad at themselves.
Oh, yeah. Rest easy, my darling. You too. Fuck. No, wait, no. Oh, beans.
He agonized, and what he came up with was, oopsie, love ya? Like, writers at Shoebox Greetings better watch the fuck out, huh?
Yeah.
He was airlifted to the local hospital that loaded him onto a plane, and then they flew him to Moscow. And then he had a CT scan that showed while his back was indeed broken, it was not the kind that makes you lose use of your limbs. So he was flown back to the UK and fitted with a back brace. According to James, he was up about a week after his fall.
Impressive.
And the account I read from him seems like he wrote it while he was convalescing. He mentions that after his fall, his wife, who was an avid skydiver, did jump again. And he also planned to do so when he fully healed.
Okay, if she ends up on the list for surviving a bigger fall, that's fucking amazing. Just like the ultimate story topper at every dinner party they go to. She's just like, no, that's awesome. 6,000 feet. Holy shit, that's such a big number. All right, you guys ready?
Next up is Julie Kopecky. She was born in Lima, Peru, the only child of 2 German zoologists.
Nazis.
Thank you.
Those are Nazis who
Hamilton.
describe her parents.
Yes, that is what those
Went
are.
From Germany to Peru, right then, Nazis.
Okay, her parents worked at the Natural History Museum in Lima, and
That's
then
where they
they
worked for,
moved
man.
to the
Nazis.
Amazon
Nazi museum.
rainforest to establish
guard
a
tower of the Natural
research
History.
station.
Research on eugenics.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Definitely Nazis. Like she's born in like 1953 or something like that. It's very clearly her parents are Nazis. 100%.
Okay, so the research station in the Amazon rainforest is going to be very important later on. She was traveling home after graduation ceremony from school with her mother on Christmas Eve on Lanza Airlines. Her father suggested they use a different airline since that one had a bad reputation. So bad that while it was 10,000 feet or 3,000 meters up in the sky, it got struck by lightning and it disintegrated.
And that pilot, Roy Sullivan.
Ooh, call back.
And now you know
that, Tom.
the rest of the story. And it's like way worse than it sounds.
Really? So like Nazi mom survives or something?
Okay. All right. Okay. Before the lightning strike, the plane was flying through this massive turbulence. She wrote in her memoir of the incident, quote, "Bags, wrapped gifts, and clothing fall from overhead lockers. Sandwich trays soar through the air and half-finished drinks spill onto passengers' heads. People scream and cry,"
Okay.
end quote.
Tragic.
The plane was struck with lightning.
Eat this there.
And then
Half finished? Fuck.
I know.
He's like trying to bite him out of the air like he's playing fucking bobbing for apples. Just trying to bite the sandwiches as they fly by. The plane was struck with lightning, and then it took a nosedive, and she was sucked out the window with the other chairs.
A pilot should have picked a different route, but, you know, he was a lazy boy.
Okay.
Come on. That was so good.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's not a wingback chair.
Because of the
That's for
chair.
sure.
There you go.
Because of the
Yeah.
chair.
Chair.
Excellent.
Yeah, somebody was going to catch her, but they couldn't give chase.
Shays.
Shays.
I
Yeah,
pronounced
there
it.
is.
Okay.
Shays.
Yeah.
They couldn't
Thanks
get
for giving us the
Shays.
B-sides this week, Tom. Yeah, we were
I got
all...
you. It's important.
Kopecky was strapped to her seat, and her row of seats stayed together as they fell to the ground. Nothing else around her, mind you, just her row of seats. Here's a quote from the article about her. Quote, "The trees in the dense Peruvian rainforest looked like heads of broccoli," she thought, while falling towards them at 45 meters per second, end quote. She passed out because of fear or because she was spinning like a top as she flew to the ground and her brain mercifully reset. But when she woke up, the canopy was above her.
She really took that whole stay seated until the plane has come to a complete stop admonition to heart. You know?
I actually appreciate that. He fucking stands up. Sit the fuck back down.
Where are you going?
Where are you going? Are you in the first row? No, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Fucking Kitty
He
Pryde
just says that because he
window.
literally can't stand up in an airplane. That's
That's
impossible.
true too. Yeah,
Because
especially because I always book him the middle seat, which is pretty funny.
Brutal. Julie was pretty messed up. She had a broken collarbone, big gash on her right arm. She also had an eye injury and a concussion. But one thing she was good at was living in the jungle. Years of living there and survival training saved her life. She, in fact, was in a familiarish jungle, not really that far from where she lived. She knew to follow the river and that, quote, her father had warned her that the piranhas were only dangerous in the shallows. So she floated midstream, hoping she would eventually encounter other humans,
Okay.
end quote.
I love the idea of piranhas being like a little bit afraid of the deep end in this. Piranhas edging out from the shallow part, being like, stop pushing me, stop, you go.
People literally imagined us. What are we possibly? This is crazy.
Oh my God, it's cold. I'm going back.
It was the middle of the rainy season, so she was wet and cold for several days in the wilderness. She had cut her arm, and sorry if you're a squeamish listener, but it had insect larvae in it. And she was walking around in a daze because of the concussion, and she only found a packet of lollipops she could eat.
Jungle lollipops? How did she? I think from the crash.
Yeah,
probably.
man.
It was from the crash, man.
No, like 1,000% she was deliriously licking a mushroom and walking around the whole time.
It's like a toad holding onto a stick. She thinks it's a lollipop.
I found jungle mushrooms. Okay.
She finally runs into a human and they're like, hey, and the toad's like, shh, this has been the best 48 hours of my life. I will give you anything to shut the fuck up right now, man. I'm a toad.
She couldn't light a fire. She had no shelter. And on the 10th day of her trek, she came across a small fishing hut that was unoccupied. She used a can of gas she found in the hut to clean the maggots out of her arm, and she stayed in a cabin that night. She was found the next day by local Peruvian fishermen. They used a canoe to transport her to a more populated area where she was then airlifted to a hospital.
Lou, doing fishing stuff. Simple Peruvian fishing stuff is my favorite. Fuck, it's a dead Nazi. Ah, damn it. This is my week now.
This keeps
This is
happening.
my week.
So those fishermen just like come back home and there's like an unexpected girl there. I know those fishermen. There's a Dopey and Doc and Bashful and Sneezy and Happy and Grumpy and Sleepy.
They suspect that either her seats slowed her descent or that she was caught in an updraft of the thunderstorm and that slowed her. Either way, she is the only survivor. They do think that 14 other people might have survived, but they succumbed to their injuries.
Okay, the seats might have slowed the falling? That's impressive. Like, that airline sold the fuck out of their economy plus or whatever after the news came out about seats that can make you sort of fly.
And people who gave a verbal confirmation to the exit row speech on the first try, they all survived too. Yeah, they all. No one did that weird, like, I hear you thing. They just fucking said yes out loud to the nice waitress for the air.
Listening to a podcast.
Next is survivor Christine McKenzie, a South African skydiver. Christine was making her 112th
Probably
jump
also a
when
Nazi.
she had a failure of both her main
South
and
African
emergency
Christine
parachute. Yeah. Now, she did have a failure of both her main and emergency parachute, and this is considered extremely rare, according to members of the Johannesburg Skydiving Club.
I mean, I would fucking hope so.
That's good.
Fucking what if it wasn't? What? Yeah, it almost never happens.
She jumped from a height of 11,000 feet or 3,400 meters. She hit some power lines that slowed her fall, and then she hit the ground and only fractured her pelvic bone and had some bruising. She was walking pretty quickly after the accident and made a full recovery.
Yeah, it actually wasn't the original fall that was the problem. When she hit the power lines, she got sproyoyoinged up twice as high in the air.
I'll get you.
And that was the one that did the damage.
That's
that'll
rough.
do it. Yeah, honestly, I'm shocked she survived. I am glad the power lines offer enough resistance to slow her down, but I demand a battery of tests later.
Tom, I am
There's
positive
two.
she survived. Larissa Savitskaya, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, survived a plane crash and fell from 17,130 feet or 5,220 meters. She was the sole survivor of Aeroflot 8:11, Larissa boarded a plane with her husband when they were coming back home after their honeymoon. They chose seats in the back of the plane, and the plane itself collided with a strategic bomber over Soviet Russia. The flight plan of the bomber crossed into civilian airspace without military or civilian control notifying each other, and the planes collided, and she was thrown from her seat into the aisle. The collision had ripped off both wings of the plane and some of the fuselage.
That's not good.
And then she somehow got up and returned to her seat and buckled her safety belt, probably because I guess the light was on and she heard that bell, that like ding or whatever.
Sure, you get in trouble.
I'm not sure if she put her seat tray up, but she was sure that her husband was dead, and she held on tight, and the rest of the airplane just
She's
broke
like,
apart.
hey, I just want to get back into my window seat. Just no, don't roll your eyes. You get up first. You scooch out. I'm not climbing over you.
Lap dance?
Scooch
No,
out.
you fucking get out.
As the plane ripped itself apart, she stayed in her seat. Now, reading a brief account, I wasn't sure if the seat itself just fell or if there was part of a plane attached to it, but supposedly branches from birch trees softened this crash here. She
Or
woke
spruce
up in the
trees.
middle of
Could be
a
either one.
birch forest with her arms fractured and no teeth. Several ribs were broken and her spine was also broken. She drank water from a puddle, and then when a helicopter flew overhead, she tried to get its attention, but she could not.
'Cause that's
She eventually
ridiculous. Sure.
walked out of the forest and was found by rescuers. She made a full recovery, but she couldn't actually talk about the incident until the Soviet Union declassified it 10 years later.
10 years later. Honestly, I'm a little disappointed in the Soviet Union. It's been 22 years. We here in the U.S. are still holding strong about that plane over Pennsylvania on 9/11. You got to
Oh
give
my
them
God.
the
Oh,
bit.
All right.
Speaking of which, it's time for a quick break for something we call apropos of nothing, even though it's never made any sense to call it that. Committing to the bit.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to People Who Had It Coming Grief Support. My name is Rick. Your loss is valid. Your pain is real. And some things are not okay to joke about. I'll go first. Lost my brother Greg in a terrible boating accident last year. His mega yacht was viciously attacked by orca whales. And, well, he was drunk and he tried to bribe the whales to leave him alone. And he was eaten on TikTok.
That is tragic and not funny at all.
So sad.
Okay, who wants to go next?
I guess I'll go next. I'm Chris. My cousin Clyde jumped out of planes for a living. And man, he loved jumping out of airplanes just all day, every day. And then one time he fell out of a plane and he died.
Unexpected.
Tragic.
Thank you.
So tragic.
Thank you. We were all very, very shocked,
How could you not be shocked?
right?
Sorry, is this where people who complained about the Titan 2 episode of Citation Needed support group comes? Is this it?
Sure is, friend. Come on in. Come on in.
And we're back. When we left off, some fucking amateur made it like 17,000 feet or whatever. Anybody with a serious number, Cecil?
Thank you, Heath. Nicholas Alchemade survived a fall of 5,500 meters or 18,000 feet
Okay.
in 1944. He was one of 7 crew members on a bomber in the British Air Force. His plane was attacked and caught fire. It plummeted to the ground, and Nicholas had 2 choices: stay in the aircraft and burn to death, or jump without a chute and die on impact. And he chose the latter.
Which is obviously the right choice. Like, oh, should I shmush instantly or scream in fire for a while and then shmush against Dave's fucking laptop? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, but I think what you're forgetting is the right thing to do is to ride the plane to the ground, and then at the last minute you jump up.
Jump
And
up.
you're fine.
Right.
Jump
You
up.
jump. You step out
actually
right at
thought
the last
that's
second.
how it would work. And I told my parents that. They were like, we don't know exactly why no, but it's no. That's not
but it's
right.
definitely no. It's definitely
Neither this artist nor this music teacher were prepared to tell you why.
We're sure
it's
you're
no,
wrong,
it's-
but we can't tell you how.
we blame ourselves. Please don't grow up to be a podcaster.
So Nicholas got lucky and he landed on a big pile of snow, and his fall was slowed by pine trees he fell through. He sprained his leg. That's it. But his troubles weren't over. He was captured by the Germans. Initially incredulous, they did not believe his story. But after searching the wreckage of the plane, they found out that he was telling the truth. And then, quote, the Germans gave Alkmaid a certificate testifying to the fact, and he was a celebrated prisoner of war before being repatriated in the May of 1945,
Okay.
end quote.
What ruse did they think he might have been pulling? Like, stage
really
of fake
complicated.
amazing survival, get captured by Nazis, and then be like, psych, got him. No, that's not it.
Right?
I'm a prisoner of war
Guys,
now.
Guys, I feel like we are maybe giving out too many certificates. Can I say that? I don't think that's our thing.
Yeah, I like my heroes who weren't captured.
Oh, brutal.
Ah.
Alan McGee also had a fall from a bomber. He was an American airman, and he was a ball turret gunner in World War II. On his 7th mission, he was in a flying fortress nicknamed Snap, Crackle, and Pop. The turret was hit by flak and disabled, so he exited it, and he found that his parachute had also been disabled by the same flak. The plane was hit, and it lost a wing, and it started to plummet to Earth. And with a loss of pressure, McGee blacked out. And then he was tossed from the plane, and he fell 22,000 feet, which is 4 miles or 6.7 kilometers to the ground.
Must make note of altimeter for Wikipedia.
He hit a building with a glass roof. So he fell all that way, hit a building with a glass roof. This is the Saint-Nazaire train station's glass roof, and it slowed his fall, and he survived. Quote, McGee was taken as a prisoner of war and given medical treatment by his captors. He had 28 shrapnel wounds in addition to his injuries from the fall, several broken bones, severe damage to his nose and eye, lung and kidney damage, and a nearly severed right arm, end quote. He got a Purple Heart and an Air Medal for meritorious conduct, and he died at the age of 84 in 2003. Another World War II story. This one is about Ivan Chizov. He was a lieutenant colonel in the Soviet Air Force, and his bomber was attacked by German aircraft, so he bailed. The height at which he jumped is not sure, but some of his crewmates say it was 7,000 meters or 23,000 feet. He said it was 5,000 meters, but either way, he jumped from the craft. Initially, he didn't want to pull his ripcord because he was worried that the fighters would see him and try to shoot him out of the air.
Yeah, and then he could die.
But a few plans survived contact with the enemy, and the enemy in this case was the thin atmosphere and no supplemental oxygen. See, he lost consciousness and he never had a chance to pull the parachute. He hit the ground at an estimated speed of around 190 to 240 kilometers an hour, or 120 to 150 miles per hour. He kind of stuck the landing, though. He hit the edge of a snowy ravine and then kind of slid down it like some sort of unbelievable stunt from the Fast and the Furious.
Okay. First of all, Cecil, family, that's real. Obviously, like he hit the Nas right before he passed out or something.
Right,
And that's
exactly,
what it is,
Right?
right?
No,
Yeah.
it's right before you.
Yeah, Tokyo Snowdrift.
The Nas is Jesus Christ, by the way, in that movie universe.
It is. Yeah.
He's found by his own troops with severe spine injuries and a broken pelvis. He was brought to a nearby army hospital where he was operated on by a surgeon, and he was able to fly a few months after his fall. And he requested combat duty, but he was assigned instead to become a navigational trainer.
Yeah, his boss was like, maybe Mr. Parachute or no parachute, I can't decide. Gets a desk job for a little bit while he fucking full executive function training.
All right, so who has the record for the longest fall? That would go to Vesna Volovic, a flight attendant for JAT Flight 367. Vesna was not scheduled to be on that flight, but the company had confused her with another flight attendant with the same name. So she was excited to be going to Denmark, and she had planned on spending all day there and went shopping with other crew members. So the flight started in Stockholm, and then it landed in Denmark. And this is where Vesna boarded the plane with her colleagues. The crew noticed one agitated passenger disembark, and then they believe that this was the person who had put the briefcase bomb on the plane. They think he boarded in Stockholm, checked the bag, and then when he left the plane, he disembarked without it, and he continued on with his way.
I feel like maybe the two Vesnas did like rock, paper, scissors, and the one who didn't get on the plane tells this story all the time. It's like, fucking paper. Paper is the best.
Yeah. The plane exploded above a village in Czechoslovakia. It depressurized, and then a bunch of the crew were ejected. Now, Vesna was lucky, I guess, and she was pinned in place by the beverage cart and stayed in the fuselage. She also passed out because she had low blood pressure. And this was a condition that she was aware that she had, and she probably would have not passed the physical for the job, but she downed a bunch of coffee before the physical and it worked.
What?
And then she, her being a rag doll also probably helped her survive.
Wow. Impressive. By the way, just a reminder, she fell over 33,000 feet. At those reunions, she just walks in and she's like, 33,000? And like everybody's just high-five and buying her rounds.
James, get her coat. James, get her coat.
Just grinding right in the face of 6,000 cannonball guy. Fuck you.
Don't hang it too high, man.
The fuselage hit trees and deep snow, and then it crashed, and that cushioned her fall. Quote, she was discovered by villager Bruno Honk, who heard her scream amid the wreckage. Her turquoise uniform was covered in blood, and her stiletto heels had been torn off by the force of the impact. Honk had been a medic during the Second World War, and he was able to keep Vulovic alive until her rescuers arrived, end quote.
I had a joke about cookies or pretzels here, but I should say for our listening audience that gentleman's last name is spelled Honke. Cecil is not having a stroke.
After this, she was rushed to the hospital and she fell in a coma. She had sustained a fractured skull, broken ribs, a cerebral hemorrhage, 2 broken legs, 3 broken vertebrae, a fractured pelvis, and a partridge in a pear tree. She was temporarily paralyzed, and she had amnesia about the incident. She remembers greeting and boarding passengers, and then the next thing she remembers is waking up in the hospital a month later. She was in the hospital for 6 months for recovery, and she never fully recovered, but after 16 months and several surgeries, she was able to walk with a limp. Here's a quote here. Vulovic attributed her recovery to her Serbian stubbornness and a childhood diet that included spinach, chocolate, and fish oil.
What? Okay. And if you had to summarize what you've learned in one sentence, what would it be?
Eat everything with a heaping helping of spinach and fish oil ganache. I think that's what I learned from this.
And are you ready for the quiz?
I am ready to stick the landing, Heath.
All right, Cecil. As someone I know who hates air travel, why did you pick this topic? A, seriously, man. B, you see me writing essays about social media and AI?
You're gonna.
C, no, you don't. D, no, you don't, Cecil.
See, but in this one, the people won when they fell. The ones about AI, they won't. So
Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to go with
probably accurate.
secret
Spoilers
answer
for my next
E.
episode.
It's actually uplifting.
Okay, you made my fears worse, so that's the right answer.
All right, Cecil. People who make this list obviously deserve an official award. It's so impressive. What's the best name for that award? A, the Splatter Day Saints Award. B, the Way Too Heisman Trophy. Or C, the Nobel Prize in Literature. That's the best one. That's the best. It's best of a light.
No.
Means
Way Too high is
landing.
better.
Ripcord Pulitzer. Okay,
Oh,
and,
sure.
Sure.
I'm gonna go with secret answer D. All of the above.
Correct. It was actually Ripcord Pulitzer. That's so good. Fuck you. Whatever. That's awesome.
All right, Cecil. If we learned anything from this week's episode, it's that if you want to survive a fall from the sky, you have to black out. How has our cast ensured our safety? A, the way Heath and Tom drink on planes. B, Cecil's uncanny ability to never leave his house.
Oh.
C, Noah's kill myself with my own heart before you can attitude. Or D, Eli's 11 Dramamine pre-flight ritual.
Oh, come on. You know it's E, all of the above.
That's right. Indeed it is.
Cecil, nicely done. You nailed all the questions. You are the winner.
Fingers crossed it's Noah next week.
Or maybe it's me.
We'll find out. All right. Well, for Cecil, Noah, Eli, and Tom, I'm Heath. Thank you for hanging out with us today. We'll be back next week, and Noah will be an expert on something else. Between now and then, you can check out Cognitive Dissonance, God Awful Movies, Scathing Atheist, Skeptocrat, D&D Minus, Season Liberally, and Dear Old Dads. And if you care about the scourge of heart disease, the silent killer sweeping our nation, you can make a per episode donation at patreon.com/citationpod. Or you can go to modestneeds.org and help out a person who really needs it. Blah, blah, blah. That's what Noah said to do. Okay. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, listen to past episodes, connect with us on social media, or take a look at show notes, check out citationpod.com.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/get-started. That's GREENLIGHT.com/get-started.